Is he connected?
Yeah, looks like it.
Okay, ready to get started?
Yep.
Okay. I'll call to order the meeting of the Triton Public School Independent School District number 2125. This is a virtual regular school board meeting held on Monday, January 11th, 2021 at 6:00 p.m. First, we'll do a roll call for attendance. Dewey Bartel,
Here.
Lloyd Henslin, Lloyd,
Says it's connecting to audio. Let's come back to him.
okay. Dale Jensen,
Here.
Jim Jensen,
Here.
Wendy Kenworthy,
Here.
Melissa Kubat,
Here.
Rebecca Knudsen is here. Lloyd, can you hear me yet?
It still says he's connecting to audio. Now try it.
Lloyd? I think he's muted. Lloyd, can you unmute for attendance? Do you want me to just go on?
Yeah.
Okay. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on the agenda is the oath of office. That will be Dewey, Jim, and me that take the oath of office. It's on your board packet. So I will read the top part, and then at the bottom, all three of us recite the bottom part. School board member oath of office. It is an honor that we are elected to guide the education of our community's children. As we recite the oath of office, we assume a tremendous responsibility as directors of our school district with the duties empowered by the Minnesota legislature. This power puts us and other members of our school board in the position of being both morally and legally responsible for equitable, quality education of every student in the district. In carrying out this responsibility, we will be asked to fulfill the roles of vision, structure, accountability, and advocacy. In providing vision, the board, with extensive participation of the community, envisions the community's educational future and then formulates the goals, defines the outcomes, and sets the course for the public schools. To achieve the vision, the board establishes a structure and creates an environment designed to ensure all students the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. Because as a board, we must be accountable to the community, we must ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement at all conditions affecting the education of our children. As board members, we serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community schools to advance the visions for our schools. Furthermore, we must strive to work together with the superintendent and staff to lead the district towards fulfilling the vision we have created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills and knowledge, citizenship, and personal development. And then if Jim and Dewey, if you'll read along the bottom of it with me. Having signed the
Signed
acceptance
the-
of office and oath of office, I hereby publicly
I publicly
affirm
affirm
my
my
commitment to the oath of office.
I
I
swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of this state,
that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of school board member, independent school district number 2125, to the best of my judgment and ability.
and ability.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is recognition of visitors. We
I
have-
didn't- I did not have anybody that requested to speak with the board this evening.
Okay, all right, then we'll move on. Approve agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Dewey, so moved.
Motion by Dewey,
Second by Wendy.
second by Wendy. We'll do a roll call vote. Dewey,
Yes.
Lloyd, Lloyd, you're muted.
It shows him on a phone.
Hi.
There he
Oh,
is.
there he is, all right. Yay. Dale,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Missy,
Yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carried. Cobra Pride.
And I know this may be a little redundant as they were recognized last week, but I did want to recognize the 4 students for the Cobra Pride Award with our 2 Minnesota State High School League AAA nominees, Brenna Essig, who's actually on our call today, and Alex Kruckeberg, who are both seniors, and Caitlin Corteau and August Kozizik for the Minnesota State High School League Excel Award nominees. Anytime we get a chance to recognize students doing great work, it's always a pleasure. And thank these 4 students for all of their hard work.
Thank you, and congratulations to all of them. Next on the agenda is election of officers. First, we will elect chair. Nominations are now in order for the office of chair.
Is anybody looking for any certain position, or is everybody all right if we just, I guess I'm all right if it stays the same way it is without being in a structured meeting and talking, discussing each other. I really don't have much input, but if anybody wants any certain position, I guess maybe they could speak up. Otherwise, if we could just keep it as it is, I guess I'd be all right with that also. Any thoughts from anybody?
Is that a motion?
Would we still have
Well,
to go down? Craig, would we still have to elect each one of them separate?
I think last time we did it, we just did the whole thing as, you have to go through it 3 times or whatever, but
I think
To
we
keep
did
it the
each
same.
position. I think we did each position separate last time.
Okay.
no, but I'm saying in the past, we've done it like this.
Oh, you
We've
have?
just kept everything the same and
Like I
don't
said,
know.
unless somebody wants where I'm at, I'm all right with just keeping it until we can meet as a group again, but that's just my opinion. I haven't really
Should we
got to
still
talk to
nominate
anybody.
each- Should we still do nominations, though? I think we should.
Is Patty on? Would Patty, could you tell us?
Yeah, I think we still need to do nominations for
That's
at
what I
least
thought.
for the officers. I believe we do. I don't think we need to for the committees, but I think we need to for the officers.
Right, we don't have to vote on the committees, but I think, I agree. I think for officers, we still have to do them separate.
I'll nominate Rebecca Knudsen for chair.
Second. Dale,
Rebecca? We don't, so for this, we don't have to have a second.
okay,
We
sorry.
just have to call for nominations, like, we have to call for nominations 3 more times. So Rebecca Knudsen is nominated. Are there any other nominations for the office of chair? Are there any further nominations for office of chair? Are there any further nominations for office of chair? If there are no further nominations, the nominations for the office of chair are closed. Rebecca Knudsen is the only candidate nominated for office of chair, and I hereby declare her elected by acclamation. Next, we'll do nominations for, by the way, thank you. Thank you for your support, and I'm honored to continue as chair.
Thank you.
Now we'll do nominations for the office of vice chair.
Dale Jensen, I'll nominate Melissa Kubat.
Melissa Kubat is nominated. Are there any other nominations for the office of vice chair? Are there any further nominations for the office of vice chair? Are there any further nominations for the office of vice chair? If there are no further nominations, nominations for the office of vice chair are closed. Melissa Kubat is the only candidate nominated for the office of vice chair, and I hereby declare her elected by acclamation. Congratulations.
You.
Nominations are now in order for the office of clerk. We have a nomination for office of clerk.
I nominate Dale Jensen. He's the one that's clerk, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Dale Jensen is nominated. Are there any other nominations for the office of clerk? Are there any further nominations for office of clerk? Are there any more nominations for the office of clerk? If there are no further nominations, then the nominations for office of clerk is closed. Dale Jensen is the only candidate nominated for the office of clerk, and I hereby declare him elected by acclamation. Congratulations, Dale. Nominations are now in order for the office of treasurer. I have a nomination for office of treasurer.
Was that Dewey?
Yeah, it was. It
Yes,
was his past tense.
I nominate Dewey Bartel.
Dewey Bartel is nominated by Dale. Are there any other nominations for the office of treasurer? Are there any further nominations for office of treasurer? Are there any other nominations for office of treasurer? If there are no further nominations, the nominations for office of treasurer are closed. Dwayne Bartel is the only candidate nominated for office of treasurer, and I hereby declare him elected by acclamation. Congratulations, Dewey.
Thank you.
Now we'll go on to appointment to committees and name representatives. We'll start at the top with extracurricular. And I guess if there's anyone for a committee that doesn't want to be on it any longer, or someone who would like to be on that committee, then let us know and we will figure it out. Currently, we have Missy, Dale, and me, and then Dewey is the alternate for extracurricular. Oh, are we okay with how that is? No response? Okay, well then we'll just leave that. We'll leave that the same then. Facilities and grounds, we have Missy, Wendy, and Dale. Is there anyone who would prefer not to be on it, or anyone who would like to be on it? We can keep that one the same too then. Budget and finance is the whole board. Meet and confer, we have Dewey, Wendy, and Dale. Any comments about that one? Okay,
Don't
we'll
meet
leave that
much.
one. Excuse me?
We don't meet much.
Oh, okay. And we'll leave that one the same too then, and then we'll get down to negotiations. Now, certified and classified will both be meeting this year. And so it's good to have a mixture of some people who have been on a committee and some that haven't been on. I think because then you can kind of test it, try different committees, see how it all works. But then also have some that have been on, so as we look
I know
at it,
with-
look at it as a big picture.
I know with the administration, I'd like to switch Wendy too, and then I can fall off. I've been on them all. So I don't know that Wendy's had the experience or who else hasn't had the experience on that. And so she's not her not be the alternate anymore, if she's okay with that.
Okay,
I'm fine with it.
okay,
My only experience is with classified, so
okay. So on certified, we have Lloyd, Jim, and me, and then Dale is the alternate. Lloyd has expressed that he would like to maybe switch, not be on certified this time. What was I? Missy, would you like to switch to that one? Or if there's someone else who would like to switch to?
That's
certified?
fine unless somebody else wants it. Because like I said, I've been on all three of them. So I'm okay with that.
Is there anyone else who would like to be on certified? Okay, then, and then Dale, would you like to still be alternate?
Sure. Yep. It's all right with me.
Okay, so we have Missy, Jim, Rebecca, and then Dale is the alternate. And then classified, we have Dale, Jim, and Wendy. And then I'm the alternate.
I've been on that one for quite a while. If somebody else wants to get in there. I don't mind it though, but yeah, I can certainly, if somebody else wants, that's fine with me.
Dewey, would you want to be on classified?
It doesn't, sure, I don't care. I mean, I was happy where I was at too. It doesn't really matter.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. I just wondered if you wanted to be on a.
Or do you want to
different-
switch from alternate, Rebecca, on that one?
Do it that way, I think.
Well, was it my understanding that there's no administrative negotiations this year?
Right.
I think Craig said there wasn't. Craig, is there any
So
administrative?
that group really won't be meeting anyway, so somebody from there could move up to classified, because they're both, yeah. Classified and certified are both meeting same year, yeah.
Okay, so,
I can be an alternate for that.
Rebecca, why don't you be on? Because you're chair. You be on, so then then you kind of know what's going on with all three. I think even though that we have the alternate, that we still should be keeping them posted on what's happening in case they have to fill in
Right.
too. You know, we have in the past, but I don't know that we have for everything, so.
Dale, if you are not on there anymore, then you would be only an alternate. You wouldn't be on one of the negotiations.
And it doesn't, I mean, I'm all right with whatever happens. I don't mind negotiating with them, and I think it doesn't matter to me. I can be an alternate or wherever it lands is fine.
Okay. All right, well. So what did you suggest, Missy? You suggested that,
Well, does Dale just want to keep it?
No, it doesn't matter. I can go to alternate if you want, and Rebecca can come in there. No, like I said, I don't mind negotiating with that group, but I've done it for quite some time. I can, whatever, if anybody else wants in, go ahead. Otherwise I can stay there. It's I'm flexible. Believe it or not, I'm pretty easy going right now. Beak. So yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah, like I said, I like the group, so it doesn't, you know, it somebody else wants in there, that's just fine.
okay,
You
so
want it,
if,
speak now.
Yep. Otherwise we'll just keep moving.
yeah, do you want it, or you want to stay on,
I'll just stay where I'm at.
stay where you're at?
And the principals is due the 2021. So that one will be, we're going to have
All are.
all of them to do.
Okay, so,
I think we just leave them and move on.
so Dale and I switched, and I was on it, and
With
Dale
that.
was the alternate. Then we had Wendy, me, and Dewey as administration, but then Lloyd, where are you with this? Like, are you okay with not being on one, or do you want to be an alternate, or would you like to be on the administrative?
Oh, I'm fine.
Put
You're
him
fine,
on
is
as
that
an
what you
alternate
said?
for sure.
Okay, so for classified, we'll have Rebecca, Rebecca,
Oh,
Jim, and Wendy, and then Dale is the alternate. And then for administrative and support, we have Wendy, Rebecca, and Dewey, and then Lloyd is alternate. Is that right? Yes?
it's all right with me.
Okay, all right. If that's right, okay with everyone, then we'll move on. Policy is the whole board. Systems Accountability Committee is Lloyd, Dale, and me. We haven't met in a couple years either. I think we can just leave that one, unless someone doesn't want to be on there. Community Education is, right now is Wendy. Wendy, are you okay with staying Community Education?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. But if somebody really wants it, I can step back from that too.
Okay, well then we'll keep you on Community Education. Continuing Education is Missy. You good
And
with
I don't
that?
think that I've ever met with that. But if anybody wants it, they can take it.
Hearing nothing, we'll keep you there. Insurance HRA is Lloyd. We'll just keep Lloyd there. If that's okay. Legislative Liaison, MSBA, MREA, we have Jim there. We'll keep Jim in that position. Yes? MSHSL is Dale. Dale, are you okay with staying there? Minnesota State High School.
Yep, I'm fine. That hasn't been a big pain at all.
Okay.
Like,
Safety is Dewey. Good with that, Dewey?
Sure.
Southeast Service Cooperative is Missy. Have you ever met
And
for
again,
that?
I've never had any meetings with. Mm-mm. But if anybody wants it, they can sure have it.
Sounds like we'll keep you there. Technology is Jim. Jim, are you okay with staying there?
Yep.
Okay, and then Zumbro Ed District is Lloyd. Lloyd said he would like to stay in that position. And then alternate, we have Jim.
It's fine.
Okay. I think that's it. I think we got through all of them. Thank you. Next on the agenda, approve consent agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to pull out of the consent agenda before we approve it? If not, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Wendy moves to approve the consent agenda.
It's
Motion
Jim,
by
I
Wen-
second.
Second by Jim. We'll do a roll call vote. Dewey,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Aye.
Dale,
yes,
Jim,
Yes,
Wendy,
Yes,
Missy,
Yes,
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. New business, 9.1, discuss approve award of bonds. You're muted.
Yep, sorry. Both of the we sold both of the bonds today, and the abatement bonds came in right at what they projected them, and the facilities maintenance bonds came in a little bit lower. So that was good news. So we do have two resolutions that we need to vote on. Kelly, do you want to say anything?
no, just would concur with what you said. You had good sales, 5 bids for one of the issues and 4 for the other. And they were all tightly bunched bids. I think the one with 4 bids, they were all within 0.08% of each other. So very competitive bids. And now you have the 2 resolutions tonight. They do need to be done separately. First for the facility maintenance bonds issued 2021A. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
The other thing, Kelly did share with me kind of a history of all of the sales that we've had in the past. And this is by far the best rate we've ever gotten. I will share that history with you guys in an email.
Very good.
Well, in that email, will you have these rates in it too? Or what were these rates?
So actually, I think Craig had it switched around. For the facility maintenance bond, it was 1.36%, which was right on what had been predicted in December. And then for the abatement bonds, we're at 1.3%, which was 24 basis points lower than was predicted in December. And I remember these are 15-year terms, so the longer the term, the rates would creep up. But still, these are, again, we're in a near record low interest environment rate. And so these are great rates for the district.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
So you're gonna put that in that email, right? What we're paying now, the percentage?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I'll make a motion for the first one.
2021.A, correct?
Yes,
Missy, I'll second it.
Motion by Dewey, second by Missy. I believe.
Yep.
We'll do a roll call vote. Dewey,
yes,
Lloyd,
Aye.
Dale, did you say yes? Dale,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Missy,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
and Rebecca, yes.
What's going on?
Motion carries.
Yeah.
The,
Internet can't get-
I was gonna say the internet's not great. Is it me or are other people hearing it too?
It's everybody.
Is it everybody?
It's everybody on my end.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just me.
You're sounding good now. You're sounding good now, but it was like delayed. I was getting yeses before you were calling.
Uh-huh. Okay, so now what is the second one that we're going to approve? What is that one called?
This is Jim. I'll move to approve Series 2021B.
Motion by Jim. Do we have a second?
Missy will second.
Motion, or a second by Missy. We'll do a roll call vote. Missy,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Dale, Dale, Lloyd,
yes,
Dewey,
yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, could I just make two comments before I'm
Sure.
out of here? One, I wanted to thank Superintendent Schlichting and Business Manager Lake. These bond issues don't just happen. There's a lot of work that goes into getting everything ready from the district side. And part of that was participating in a rating call last week. And that's about a 45-minute to an hour long call, giving an overview of the entire district finances, enrollment, what's happening in terms of the economy and growth in the area. So thanks to both of them. And then I just wanted to note the district did receive an A2 rating, which is a very solid rating for a rural school district of your size. But in their comments, the rating agency did say they are very close to a potential upgrade of one rating to an A1. And it's good news whenever you can get a rating upgrade. And that just means the district has been well managed by the board and administration, and their financial position is strong. So, and a big part of that was the passage of your operating levy a year ago, and then projected surplus for this current year budget. So congratulations to the Triton district on hopefully good news in the future. It didn't happen this time, but they did say that they had a long conversation about it, and if things keep going the way they're laid out, that they would expect there's a rating increase in the future. So,
Thank you, Kelly.
thank you.
Nine point two, discuss approve amended resolution ratifying concurrence with a proposed project through the issuance of certificates of participation, Series 2021A for the Zumbro Education District.
So basically, this is just updating what we've already approved, but we have a change with some of the dates for the construction and the sale of the bonds for the Zed building project.
I'll make a motion, Lloyd.
Motion by Lloyd. Was that a second by Dale? I can't tell. Do
Second
we
by
have a
Wendy.
Second by Wendy. Thank you. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Dewey,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Aye.
Dale, Dale, did Dale answer? Dale?
I hear choppiness, like he's trying.
Jim,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Missy,
Yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carries.
Yes.
There. 9.3, discuss approve Triton school calendar for 2021-2022.
All right, I met with the calendar committee. Really, the only change that came up was to move the, let's see, there was a late start in February on the 23rd, and staff wanted to use that time earlier in the year. So I changed that to an early out on October 20th. Other than that, pretty much everything else stayed the same.
Do we have any questions?
So all of staff voted on that already?
No, I did what I did last year. I had a committee meeting with whoever wanted to be a part of it. So we met as a committee and reviewed it. And I don't know if the union sent that out for a vote with their membership or not.
So
So
do the bus drivers and everybody vote on this too, Craig, or it's just certified?
Just certified usually.
So I have a question on that early out on October 20th. I know you had said that there was some concern or you wanted to be paying more attention to utilizing those early outs and late starts for more professional development or group work time. With that being a day before a scheduled break, I'm concerned that having an early out that day will mean that staff will be leaving at 1 o'clock to start their break early.
And I think I made it pretty clear that that would not be the case. I also was pretty clear about the fact that if we were going to add any more dates, that I would like to see us utilizing that time before Christmas break and last day of school.
Can I comment on that? Just from the elementary perspective, as far as that date in October, because I think that was my staff that kind of brought that forward. It's a really good time to look at data and start to group. We're 6 weeks in. And so we will have our Fast Bridge data done. We'll have our STAR testing done. And it's a great time to evaluate and then formulate how we want to move forward. So that's kind of why they wanted that date. And I understand your concern, but just know instructionally, that's a really good to do that.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? If not, can I get a motion to approve the Triton school calendar for 2021, 2022?
I'll
Missy,
make
I
a
s-
motion to approve the 2021, 2022 school calendar.
Motion by Wendy. Second?
I'll second.
Was that a second, Missy?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Dewey,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes,
Dale? Dale? Jim?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
There's his yes. I said Wendy. Missy?
Yes.
I can hear, you're choppy, but I can kind of hear you, and I believe you said yes, so we're good. And Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. 9.4, student council report.
All right, go ahead, Brenna.
We just got done with our teacher appreciation this morning. We did a virtual game night over the past distance learning day on Friday, and we just kicked off our food drive today.
Okay.
Thank you, Brenna.
Thank you.
9.5, Zed report.
I guess I really don't have anything. Our meeting got moved to the 28th. It would have been the 21st, but because of these things getting pushed back a little bit, we're scheduled for the 28th. I don't know if there's any questions on the information sent out or not, but or if Craig has anything new.
No, it's been pretty quiet, Lloyd.
Because yeah, we've had 2 Triton board meetings now since our last ZED meeting. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Lloyd. Principals report.
I'll go first. So just to want to again thank everybody. This is continually moving target in our tier 1 daycare. Our EAs led that and they did a job leading up into this break. Tessa and Kendra, Liva test will be coming. They've been working hard on that. And then the ever-changing rules of the pandemic, they've been doing an awesome job there. Our bus drivers, just constantly, that's changing, the added accountability for tracking. They're doing a great job. So just want to do a shout out to them. And of course, our teachers and staff for coming back. We're in full swing. You know, we're Monday through Thursday right now, and all the students are in the building. And then we got our devices back. So Eric and Brandon have spent a ton of time getting them back into the building and then to a point where we can use them back in the classrooms after that being at home for a little bit of time. We are currently working on our schedule for next year, starting to look at that. STAR testing and Fast Bridge testing are happening this week to see where we still need to work and how we need to move forward with the remainder of the school year. And we will spend next Monday looking at the data, as well as planning our PLCs and our assessments. So kind of what we will be doing next Monday. And we are also beginning those stages to plan. As of right now, we are taking the MCAs and what does that look like through 3 through 5th grade. And we'll talk about, I'll wait until we all talk about the schedule moving forward when we get to that slide.
There you go. Nope, next one forward, Mr. Schlichting.
Sorry.
There you go.
Good. As Mrs. Moore mentioned, we have students back in the building. We're very excited as a staff to have them back in the hybrid model. At the secondary level, we're coming to the end of our semester, which will take place on January 28th. The focus for our staff leading up to that is making sure that we can get as many of our students to have some success in this first semester, earning credits. As part of that, we have interventions on Fridays. We do have a distance learning day in our model, currently K through 12, and at the middle school and high school level, we have a lot of students coming in on those Fridays for additional one-on-one help with teachers. We've done a little mock homework club, if you will, for the middle schoolers. So Fridays, we have a lot of students in our hallways. With all this going on, it's been a focus of Mr. Luderman, myself, and Mrs. Morm to do some extra communication to our families on what is going on. The transition of an educational model doesn't just happen. We have to make sure that our families know what's going on, what's coming up next. So we're hoping to continue to communicate effectively. It was very interesting seeing us come back in the hybrid, how many of our families forgot how the hybrid worked here at the middle school. There was a lot of calls and emails going on the first couple days, even though we did it for a good chunk of the first semester. Those couple weeks of distance learning there, it took some time for us to readjust back into our hybrid model. Also, as Mrs. Moore mentioned, we are beginning prep work for our state testing, including our ACTs, our pre-ACTs, our ASVAB. Those are going to be taking place on March 30th in the high school. And Mr. Luderman, you want to take the next couple bullet points?
Sure. As Mrs. Morum and Mr. Van Beek had alluded to, obviously the testing, this portion of the school year requires a lot of planning and coordination. And it's a statute in the state of Minnesota that you're supposed to have a calendar by the first day of school with all the testing dates on that. And we have that now, but know that that's going to have to change and adjust as we figure out how we're going to navigate this during our calendar and what we're doing for school at that time. So just a recognition from Miss Maloney. She does a great job of coordinating all this and connecting the pieces. So a shout out to her too. That'd be great. In terms of some upcoming things, we have our parent teacher conferences, believe it or not, and my calendar is beeping at me on March 1st and the 4th. So we're excited to get that going and excited to connect with our families. At this point, we need to continue to plan with our teams because we have not decided exactly what type of format that will be. But as Mr. Van Beek had communicated earlier, we will be sure to reach out and make sure folks are informed on that well in advance. As I'm sure you may have seen over the vacation time, there were some updates to the learning plan from the state of Minnesota. All right, and the first thing they said, the things that got our attention, is that school staff have to wear a shield with a mask simultaneously throughout the entire day, and that was a requirement. And Mr. Schlichting, you can go ahead and chime in there, but it's our understanding that they have backed off of that. So that's not a requirement at this point, but we do have the protective equipment available for staff that would like to use it. Mr. Schlichting, anything I missed with the sheet?
No, yeah, and I was going to touch on that in mine too. That was a big change when they moved that to strongly recommended versus mandated.
Yep, and I believe Ms. Morm had alluded to our testing program that we're excited to get started here in a few weeks. So we're excited about that. One piece that it has a big impact on our students and our staff and the way we're tracking things. I think this year in school, it's different, and the life of an administrator is different for sure. I would say it's more tracking on quarantine and contact tracing than other things at this point. But what that piece means is shortened quarantine. If you recall previously, if a student was a close contact to a positive case, it was an automatic 14-day quarantine. And now there are some conditions in place for a 7-day. If a student would have a negative test between days 5 and 7, they can come back then. Okay, so it shortens that piece. So we'll have an option for a 7 and a 10 and a 14. But what I will say is this is a lot to track. Okay, and Tessa and our nursing office staff, they're doing a great job with that. So on the next slide, Mr. Schlichting, we just wanted to point one thing out on the January calendar there, sir. You want to advance one? There you go. I just wanted the board to be aware. Next Friday, the 22nd of January, that's not going to be a distance day. It's going to be an in-person day. Okay. And the reason for that, if you look at the end of the semester, we want to make sure we can have all of our students in the building an equal amount of times. So with the non-school day on Monday, we took the day we normally have on Monday and put it to the Friday. I just wanted to make sure the board had an opportunity to see that.
And I want to make sure that they understand that's just middle school and high school. Elementary will still be distance learning that day.
All right, Mr. Schlichting, you can go ahead. All right, I'll go ahead and get started. I'll do the first one, and then Shane or Mary, if you want to jump in and do the next two on the timeline here, I think that'd be all right. We wanted just to take a minute and explain, because we got to reflecting on the models we've been in and what we want to do moving forward. So if you remember at the beginning of the school year, the elementary was full in person, the 6 through 12 was the every other day type of school model at that time.
And then moving forward a few weeks to October 5th, that is when we moved the elementary to a hybrid. With that move also came the Friday distance learning, as was laid out in our back to school safe plan. Once the elementary would go to hybrid, we would all take that Friday as a distance learning to keep our families on the same schedule.
And then the projected numbers came in, they were starting to come in very, very high. So we moved to a planning day on November 23rd and 24th with distance learning starting for K through 12 on November 30th.
And then as you can see, the changes with the updates to the plan, some of the priorities on that plan, I'm sure you have seen it or portions of it, were to prioritize in-person instruction for elementary schools. So we want to make sure we came together as a school and had a conversation on how to do that and how to do it the best way. So you can see the timelines there. We're fortunate to be back in school now. It's great to have the students back in the building and interacting with staff and students. So Mrs. Moran, would you like to talk about the February 1st piece with K through 2?
Yeah, so the goal, as we know, is to get every single student back in the building 5 days a week. With that being said, there's planning that goes into place and different mandates and things we have to follow. So our goal is we'd like to start with K through 2 in person starting on February 1. Now we're already in person, so this only adds the Fridays for K through 2, those first 2 weeks. After then, would like to transition to 3 through 5 into in-person as well. This just is kind of that staggered stuff the state is kind of recommending. And then at the end, and the two of you can speak to what you're hoping for, even though you don't know for sure in the future. So that's the plan. And as always, we know that this is a moving target and can change at any point, but would like to try and get our students back 5 days a week, which was one of the governor's advisements. So.
Yeah, but in that plan, they stated a number of rules or regulations that we're supposed to follow through. And one piece that's interesting is they stated the prioritization of having elementary schools in person. And then they said the secondary schools have to follow the guidance that was on the plan previously. So that's an interesting and a hard thing for us to manage as a school, but we're doing our best to work through that. So in terms of the middle and high, Mr. Schlichting, if you advance one slide, we know that the communication with our parents is extremely extremely important. So we want to get the next month's calendar out there as soon as we possibly can. Okay, and when putting this out, we're not saying that we want to stay in this model the remaining portion of the school year, right? We know we have the incident command teams on Monday, and we have to follow the data and trends. And if there's a way to get back more, we definitely want to plan with our staff and try and coordinate that. But as you can see, the month of February there, that is the model that we would like to move forward with for now.
And if everything works perfectly, those first 2 weeks of February here would be our K through 2 in person. Then the next 2 weeks, we roll in that 3 through 5, and hopefully at the end of the month of February, we've had great success with that model. And we can look to see what adjustments we can do to continue that rolling in for more students. Do we have any questions about the educational model that we're in or that we're looking forward to moving into?
And are you okay, all of you school board members, with our plan?
I wish we in person to discuss this. We'd like to see all get back in school. I don't know why we just do why are we stopping at second grade there?
So if I heard you correctly, you're asking why we're stopping at that second grade. Dale, if you just nod your head, we can talk to that. Or... Correct. So coming off the governor's guidance, nope, you're coming off the governor's guidance, and Mr. Luderman or Mrs. Morum jump in here. But they are recommending a rolling start to bring them back in. So it's a staggered start, ensuring hopefully that's more successful. So that's why the breakups of the K2, then the 3-5, then more from there perhaps.
And the other portion is we have a K2 distance learning teacher currently working with those distance learners. And that has always been the priority of the state too, is the younger the kids, the bigger the priority. I know it's not perfect or beautiful, but just trying to follow guidance as best we can.
So on the COVID if a staff member was to get it, did the state take away some of the monies or something, or why did we change that?
Mr. Schlichting, you want to?
Yeah. That program ended in December 31st, and they are no longer funding that.
Okay, I kind of feel bad for the. Okay.
Any other questions, folks? We wanted to make sure you had the background and information and provide more detail for you on the model we've been in and what it's like. I know being on a board, you receive a number of questions. So if you ever need clarifications or more information, I'm happy to sit down. I know I speak on behalf of Shane and Mary on this one. We're more than pleased to sit down and talk with any of you at any time. I think the one is to note that just because this is what we're doing, we're trying to follow the guidelines as they're provided by the state of Minnesota. It doesn't mean all the time that we think this is the best idea, right? We need to match what we think is best and match that with the guidelines. So a lot of times we're asked a reasoning behind it, and we'll do our best to provide that. But on some occasions, it's guidance the best we can.
And Mr. Schlichting, I do have a slide on activities also. So I'm very happy to let the board know that we are back into activities beginning last week, Monday, January 4th. All of our coaches are very eager, and our athletes are very happy in those gyms, and we've had some busy days around Triton Public Schools the last week. A lot of the protocols that you saw this past fall are still in place. One big difference is from the guidelines of the state is that a majority of our athletes are going to have to participate in activities at this time in a mask. And I know that is it's a big step, and I know some of our students are worried about that, but going from practice to practice The girls and the guys are doing a good job adjusting to that, and they are all at least getting some activities, albeit perhaps they are masked while they're doing all of their activities. In addition to the masks, the pods, they are still recommending pods of 25. And we've taken those pod guidelines and we've even in basketball shrank those down. Unfortunately, I will tell you that we had a quarantine a couple of our basketball players this past week. And if you have a pod of 25, which means 2 teams, let's say 7th and 8th grade, one case can knock out 1 or 2 levels pretty quickly. So our basketball coaches are looking at potting down into those 12 to 15 range, so that a positive case doesn't have as large of an impact on them. Our first competitions will begin this week, Thursday. We'll be hosting wrestling here at Triton as we take on Plainview and Stewartville. And our ladies will be traveling to St. Charles this Thursday for a girls basketball game. We come back this week on Friday with a boys basketball game as we take on Rushford Peterson at the CJV and varsity level. And then both our varsity teams and our boys basketball teams are back at it on Saturday. So the seasons are right, the competitions are right around the corner, and we're excited to have people in our stands, who I'll talk to in a moment here as well. The seasons are abbreviated. In a typical year, a basketball team can schedule 27 games. This year, our basketball teams were allowed to schedule 18 games. In addition to those, the reduction of games allowed to be scheduled, undoubtedly there will be breaks and pauses in the season. Just like our girls 7th and 8th grade teams are in pause right now because of a COVID case, that is going to come up, unfortunately, probably more than we want it to happen throughout the school year. Or through the winter season, talking to other ADs, just today, I know of a half a dozen teams in our area in various sports that are shut down for 2 weeks. The COVID possible impacts, a close quarantine for an activity, a student that's participating in activities will equal a 14-day shutdown. Mr. Luderman talked about the shortened quarantines of 7, 10, and then a 14-day quarantine. Unfortunately, any quarantine that is allowed to come back early, you take a test and then you come back, you have to maintain a strict 6-foot distancing from others through those 14 days. For obvious reasons, that becomes very difficult in an activity. I can't have a wrestler that's going to maintain 6 feet away from all of his teammates during a wrestling practice. So if an individual tests positive, any close contact would also be shut down for 14 days. In addition, the individual that tested positive for COVID, we have a return to play protocol in place that Justin Strife, our athletic trainer, will help navigate with our student athletes and their parents. The return to play protocol is just a safety net that is strongly recommended by the State High School League in order to catch any any abnormalities to the heart. They are seeing some situations of COVID affecting younger athletes in various ways. So we have a couple steps to it, graduated return to play that Justin will help navigate with the athletes. Throughout the first week and into week number 2 today, our coaches and our athletes are embracing every opportunity. There's a lot of smiles going on in the gyms, and we're just very happy to have activities back. And through it all, as always, I've talked to the head coaches about keeping that focus on the purpose of our programs, which is life lessons. We are going to have to overcome adversity this winter, and I think that's a great life lesson for our student athletes. If we can keep the focus on those life lessons and take the ups with the downs throughout this winter season, I think that our student athletes will gain a lot of valuable experience in the next couple weeks. Let's look at the end of a winter schedule. Currently, games are scheduled through the 2nd week of March, and they are planning a postseason for all of our after school activities. So hopefully we will have some sort of section and state tournaments. I wanted to also address what we're going to do with our home events. As a conference, the Hiawatha Valley League, the HVL, has decided to allow 2 spectators per participant into all of our gyms. So if you have a student athlete, you will be given 2 passes that gets you into the gym. In addition to that pass for JV and varsity, we are going to charge $5 at the door. The good thing with the $5 at the door versus a season-wide pass that we tried in volleyball is just in the case of a quarantine situation. I cannot guarantee that our basketball teams will have 18 varsity games. If they only get in 16 games, that way at least the parents haven't paid for some games that do not take place. We're going to go for a pay at the door method through all of our conference games. When we are on the road against a non-conference opponent, obviously we have to play with whatever rules they put in place. For example, this Thursday at St. Charles, when our ladies travel over there for girls basketball, the Three Rivers Conference is not allowing any spectators into their gyms. As a result, none of our parents will be able to watch their student athletes participate this upcoming Thursday. There will still be a focus on streaming. We will be streaming multiple gyms here at Triton. We are looking at doing both the 7th and 8th grade gym and the C, JV, and varsity gyms through our YouTube channels. So we will have spectators in the stands. We will have streaming. We will have commentating. We're looking forward to the excitement of a winter season. And in a couple short hours here on Thursday, it'll kick all off with the great sport of wrestling here at home. Any questions about activities? All right, on behalf of Mrs. Moore and Mr. Luderman, we thank you. And if there's ever any questions, all three of us are eager to answer them the best that we can. So please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent's report.
All right, so just want to kind of review this. The design meeting that I had with SiteLogic today, I did send you a link in the email. It's about an hour and a half, but we went through the 100-page document that will go out for bid. So I did share that with you. I did want to talk, some time ago they talked about disconnecting our analog phones, and that's the 374 numbers, but we could save a significant amount of money if we cancel the 374 numbers that we're not using. We do have the 418 number for like the elementary office, district office, high school office, middle school office. So I just think it's time that we looked at disconnecting those and saving some money. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that in case anyone asks. Bond sale, I did post, these are the numbers, and the 2021A, it did come in at bid cost. So what they projected it to be at 1.36, it came in at 1.36. And the second one that we voted on, the 2021B, which was the abatement bonds, they projected that at 1.4, and that actually came in at 1.3. And I will send that history thing with you in the email. Mr. Luderman covered the week of January 18th to the 22nd schedule, the little bit of change that they made there. Equity update, Equity Alliance, we will be working with them. They will be doing some small student forum groups, staff forum groups. They've completed the surveys, but they will come in and do some observations at the beginning of the semester, just checking in and looking at some of the processes and procedures we have. I did want to give you a kind of a COVID update where we're currently at. We currently have, and actually that went down today. This was from Friday. We went down to 9, but total cases and the cases that we have. They did talk about the saliva testing and the new guidelines that will begin later in the week of January 18th. And lastly, just wanted to mention that we currently have 100 students that are using the Family Flex option, which is about 10% of our student body. So any questions on any of that? All right.
Is there any other new business? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Dewey, so moved.
Motion by Dewey. There a second?
Second, Jim.
Second by Jim. We'll do a roll call vote. Dewey,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Missy,
Yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.